Everything got even better in the Enchanted Forest ever since the hunter Gaston is defeated. One day, at a place called the Meadow, a fox named Robin of Locksley and Little John the Bear stole a few bags of gold from the ruthless wolf, the Sheriff of Nottingham. After the duo escaped, they gave the gold to a few poor people who lived in the streets of a village which took place on a hilltop. Robin the Fox calls himself Robin Hood. Later that night, Robin spends time with his younger sister, who is a small fox named Rita. Soon, after a brief argument, Rita spent a peaceful night in a cave. The next day, Rita discovered a nearby railroad in the middle of the meadow. Once there, she befriends an enchanted tank engine named Thomas. As Rita journeys to a place called Thorn Valley, Thomas pesters another tank engine named Gordon until they accidentally crash into a tree. Meanwhile, at Thorn Valley, Rita encounters a mouse called Miss Bianca, who moved in from London, and confronts a field mouse named Mrs. Brisby. But after she rescued her children from a hawk, Mrs. Brisby became best friends with Miss Bianca. With help from Thomas and Gordon, Robin Hood the Fox finds Rita, who saves Jeremy the Crow until they brought her back to the meadow. A month later, Robin and Rita are being invaded by Professor Ratigan, who is the leader of an organization known as NIM. But then, with help from Timothy Mouse and Basil of Baker Street, a mouse named Bernard chased Ratigan to the clock tower of London, known as Big Ben. Once there is a great big battle. Ratigan tried to tear Bernard apart, but the rat accidentally fell off Big Ben and into the river below. Bernard survived and he traveled back to the Enchanted Forest. The next day, at the meadow, after a visit from Miss Bianca and Mrs. Brisby, Rita the Fox encounters a deer known as the Great Stag. At first, Rita believed that foxes and deer don't get along ever since a war which happened over a century ago. But now she realized, however, that someday there shall be a friendship between both groups of animals. Jiminy is a cricket who once lived in the streets of London. But then, one night, his travels took him to the Enchanted Forest. Once there, Jiminy Cricket visits a vixen named Maid Marian who lived in a chateau. Marian and her friend, a chicken named Lady Cluck, took the cricket to a kingdom not far away from the chateau. Soon, Jiminy moved to Pride Rock in the Pride Lands, where he befriends a lion named Mufasa and his pride. After he sets a campfire, Jiminy met a lioness called Sarabi and her cub Simba. The next day, Jiminy befriends a llama named Cusco, who was banished by his own kind because of his arrogance. Time passed after Jiminy encounters Mufasa's brother, a mean lion named Taka, who calls himself Scar. Later that night, after spending time with a young girl lion named Nala, Simba was tricked by Kaa the snake, who took him to the Cave of Wonders, where he finds the genie and the magic lamp. Along with Cusco the llama, Donald Duck and Abu the monkey, Simba battled Kaa, and the genie helped Simba escape from the cave with help from the magic carpet. The seasons passed. One day, Scar tricked Simba into waiting in the gorge, where a trio of hyenas started a wildebeest stampede. Mufasa rescued Simba just in time, but Mufasa is assassinated by Scar. Later, Simba survived and ran into exile. Scar and the hyenas took over the Pride Lands. Later that night, Simba escaped to the meadow. He accidentally trespassed on the farm, which is owned by a hunter named Amos Slade. As he chased the little lion, Sarabi leapt in front of Slade's rifle and was shot down. Slade walked away, ashamed. Simba sadly embraced his mother for the last time. Soon, Simba encounters Maid Marian and Baloo the bear, who rescued him from Shere Khan the tiger and a group of aliens called the Putties. Simba won the battle and banished Shere Khan from the Enchanted Forest. Months later, Simba grew into a large lion and reunites with a lioness who is his best friend Nala. After they are married, they have a daughter named Kiara as they lived at the meadow. As for Marion the fox, she wished Nala every happiness. Later that day, Marion reunites with her old friend Robin Hood the fox.